Okay, I am back. I'm glad you guys all got a kick out of me in the last video, putting up my sign about gluing outside. Um, now after I got off of here, I did a little bit more work in the other room, and then fell asleep on the couch. And I'd still be there right now if a little dog had not started bothering me so much that for me to get up so she could lay down in the spot that I was asleep and fall asleep. Anyway, I am back. I did some work on prototyping the body. I am going to have to true this up. But backwards. This is kind of where it's going to be right now. I think that's about the right size. It's so funny. It looks like a Razorhead's baby. Okay. But it has kind of an interesting setup. It has a little bit of a. This is the Ben Franklin body. I just added a panel to the front. I made a bottom and then moved the hole more to the butt or to the end of the butt where the tail would be if it had a tail, so that the elbow could kind of fall inside there, and then added a little bit of a chest to it to get that shape, sort of. So that's kind of. Wait, let me see. Nope. Well, I don't see it either. Okay, wait, there's that. There we go. So that's kind of what it's going to look like. So anyway, I wanted to be able to get it there in her arm. I also rounded out the bottom of the back of the head just a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with that now. So okay, so I'm gonna cut this thing in half and pattern it out. I was very impressed with it that I was able to seal that hole with 5 identical kind of rounded triangles, and it fit pretty much. So now I'm going to true it all up, and I think it's probably going to be. I think it's going to be about 4 pieces, but we'll see what happens. Okay. See, that should be glued together, but okay, let's see, where's the other one? Yeah, it's not going to be there. See, that right there is going to be a problem. Let me think how I'm going to do that. Maybe like this. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I got to figure out if I can do the same thing on this side. Okay. It's not that piece. It's I guess I'll just have to kind of wing it. Do that in the wrong spot. Good enough. I guess I'll have to keep that for, what was it? It said back in. Okay, I'll use that for the next time. Oh, look, I have a grid on. I gotta fix that. Okay. I don't know. Maybe the grid was helpful to somebody. I don't know. But I guess let me know in the comments if the grid is helpful. All right. Sorry about that. Hey, why is that upside down? Oh my gosh. I'm having a lot of technical difficulties now. Okay, layer. Okay, at least that's right set up now. Oh my gosh. Okay. See, this is why you tune into my videos, to figure out if I'm ever going to get my camera up and running. Okay. There we go. That was a lot more complicated than it needed to be. I did last or before the last live stream, I reran some cable and changed up some of the camera locations and stuff. So I'm still dealing with that. As you can see, I put a few cuts in here that I do not need, like this one. But I'll just not trace those. And I have always been confused when I watch people put darts into things. Like, especially when they do it on a clay sculpture, like how they know where it's going to be. That's why I do it this way, where I just, I basically try to flatten it out, and that informs where the darts are. Um, Again, there's no one way to do anything, but this works. So. Line that up the best I can. You can see how different they are too, which is nice, because now I know that there was a reason why I've gone to all this trouble. Okay. I do like, though, that I was able to get all this out of the same pattern that I used for Ben Franklin. And I built this one actually for Zoidberg to see if that one would work, and it didn't. So I had it sitting around. So it's a lot easier than starting over from scratch. So, like I said, you don't always have to start at the beginning. It's just a good idea to it's a good skill to be able to alter patterns that you've already made. I think I'm going to have to invest in some new Sharpies. These things are all drying up about the same time. Okay. So it's basically mark in between the two lines. Some of them are pretty close, and then others are, like over here, are really off. So, but what's nice is it'll make the next. I gotta get rid of this pen. It'll make the next stage when I'm covering all this work better. And I'm going to use I think I'm going to use EVA foam like I used on Godzilla for this body, because it's going to be held up. It's going to have a lot of abuse and a lot of use, walking around conventions and stuff. So, and also the fur is going to be pretty heavy. So I think probably a good idea. I probably should have made the head that way, and we'll see. Maybe I'll end up remaking the head the fourth time now, so I can use EVA. But I don't think I'll have to pattern it again. All right. That one's dead too. I'm showing you a lot of here. All right, so there's some use for the body. I've gotten sloppy with my. What's the date? The 7th? Oh, it's the 5th. Phew! Oh, wait, that's not the mouth plate. This is the mouth plate. All right. I know I made a pattern for the mouth. Oh, it's this. Need to make a new one of these, actually. So originally when I made this pattern, this is the mouth plate. Originally when I made the mouth plate, I was thinking that I needed to fit my whole finger, or I was going to leave this open here. But I decided instead to make one that was complete and then make just one that was size of my thumb. Sorry, the size of my thumb. So that inside part needs to be smaller. Little thumb. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Dave Baker says your Facebook stream has about a 4-minute delay from your Twitch stream. You know, it's funny. I don't think anybody watches the Twitch stream, but in fact, I may end up getting rid of it if I don't hear from people on it. I think what I'll end up doing is repurposing that to TikTok or Instagram if I can ever get either of those feeds working. But you know, any group that can start watching these things, the better. I'm kind of. Oh, that's the other thing. 30-degree angle. You know, I'm just trying to diversify. I think probably I should start telling people to start subscribing to the YouTube channel. The it's Puppet Troop 1. Because I want to start building that up a little bit. That's the right one. You could be on the ground floor. Because I think I only have about 25 subscribers on that right now. Okay. So I'm trying to save money on this project. So again, I'm going to use this foam as opposed to a better foam, but it'll work fine. It's left over from Godzilla. I don't need very much of it. It also works great for a garage floor. Twitch doesn't have a lot of puppet related content on there, so there's probably not a lot of demand there. Creature is on there though, and he does puppet content and other art stuff. Yeah, I don't know too much about the Twitch stream, the Twitch feed, or the platform. Again, I was just I have 3 channels that I can post to on this system, and I had an old Twitch account for Melonpool, which I never used, so I thought I would give it a try. But that's probably a good oh, I don't want to do this one. This is the head. What did I do? Did I just throw that away? Oh, here it is. I thought I threw away my pattern, or that I just made. TikTok might blow up your content if you stream on there. Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I'm feeling my age when it comes to this stuff. I don't understand TikTok. I avoided getting on there because of all the hoopla of it possibly going away. I figured why bother learning another one? But I tell you, that Godzilla thing just blew up. So I'll look into it. I'm a little confused as to how to output it so that because they use like a they use a portrait mode as opposed to a landscape. And what I've been doing is I've been doing the the portrait mode, so I'm not sure if it'll export it out the correctly. But I do have access to it if I want to. Okay. I'm an old man. Okay. So I'm actually going to cut this out on the bandsaw. So I'm going to see if I can get a. Hopefully it's still early enough. What time is it? It's 9:30. My neighbors will have to deal with a bandsaw for tonight. It's best if you have a schedule. You have to have a certain number of followers to live stream on there. I think it's 1,000 followers. Oh, then I'm nowhere near that. I think I have about 125 followers on TikTok. But I'll look into it. If I actually got around to editing some of this stuff, that might be an option too, is to just start editing this stuff down into something that is a little bit more bite-sized. Yeah, I don't know what's a good schedule for people. I mean, I at most get maybe 3 people watching these things at a time. I just basically, it's hard for me to even get started it's hard for me to even get motivated to post on here. I'm gonna have to use a whole new sheet for this. Like it's hard for me to remember to even do a live stream. That's what I'm kind of focusing on right now, is trying to actually remember to hit record when or hit broadcast when I when I start working. But I do realize that if I actually kept a regular schedule, I might attract more people. But right now, it's basically whenever I start working, I hit record. This is all pretty. I don't know. This is a learning curve I'm on. The fact I'm doing it at all, I think, is a major accomplishment. I have actually noticed, though, that people have been watching them after the fact, which is fascinating to me. I probably could just record them when nobody's watching and then have a schedule for when I can broadcast them. The quality would be a little bit better, and I could keep a regular schedule that way. Although I do get lonely, so it's nice to have people here to talk to. Okay, so what I do is I actually pin 2 layers and make sure one is facing one way and one's facing the other. I'm going to try and get a view that shows me on the bandsaw. Let me turn on this other light here too. Let me see. Yeah, this is not going to be a great view, but okay, there's my bandsaw. Let's see. Can you see me? Seen it in my neighbor's yard. Here, let me shut this. So the main thing I always do is I try to make sure you try and keep the fence just a little higher than than the thickness of what you're cutting, and you also need to you have to make sure these pins don't go all the way through. But all right, here we go. Probably should put on a dust mask too. I have one here someplace. I can't actually see the feed, so if you guys are saying something great, cheering me on, telling me that I don't know. How do I even wear this? You'd think after all these years I'd know how to put on a mask. Okay, here we go. All right, almost done. Okay, so on this one, I'm not able to make that turn. I can't physically get this in here without, well, maybe I can. I'll try it. The other option is that I need to basically transfer the pattern to the other side so I can flip it over and put it in there. So let me see what I can get. Yeah, I gotta flip it over. That thing kicks up so much dust. I have no idea if this is even gonna be on camera. Let me see. Oops. Let's see. Oh. I'm not sure where that green bar comes from. Okay, let me see if I can get rid of that green bar. All right. Yeah, that's true. Thank you. Yeah, I've also shrank. Yeah, I am inherently really uncomfortable on camera. Stage fright really bothered me. I had a hard time with it, which is probably why I never really became a too much of a YouTuber earlier on. But I during COVID, it really helped me to have to stream, to actually have to go on Zoom as often as I did. So I kind of got over a lot of that. Okay, I'm just going to mark up this one turn that I couldn't do before. And then pin everything back in place. Oh, maybe I'll actually show what I'm doing. So what I did is I marked that pattern on the reverse side because everything else is cut out. And then I'll pin everything back together. And I'm not going to switch the camera. You're just going to have to take my word for it that I'm cutting it. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so now I got the two pieces. Okay, so I'm going to have to heat form this thing. So that'll be the next thing I do, which I'll have to turn the camera for that as well. Well, maybe I don't have to. I can do that over here. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to heat form it. This is what the cosplay. Let me get the glue out of here. This is what the cosplayers all do. You may have seen this. I think it's a skill. This is something that puppeteers don't really do as much, and I think it's very valuable. But this is a heat gun, not a hair dryer. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a slight color change when you heat it up. It gets hot really fast, so don't get your hand in here if you can help it. I'm going to do both sides. I probably should put on my respirator. Okay, so now a lot of the cosplayers use like they call it a foam anvil, and they make it out of like a ladle, plastic ladle. But you can kind of just curve it. And if you don't get enough of it done, you just hit it with the heat gun again. You all know this already, though, I'm sure. But this is how I was able to get all the compound curves with C3PO, because you can kind of stretch it a little bit, too. And you just basically want to make sure you... There we go. Get that kind of curved, and then you do the other side. And try not to burn down your house as you do it. Yeah, Evil Ted's awesome. I was lucky enough to take one of his classes at the Scum and Villainy Cantina. It's a Star Wars themed bar here in LA, and I got to. He showed how to make a foam armor piece. I think C3PO is in his feed. He took some video of it because I brought it and showed it to him. But yeah, he's a great guy. You can actually vacuform L200. I've done it a little bit. If you have a big enough vacuform machine, you can heat it up, and then you can actually put it into a mold, onto a buck like you would polystyrene or ABS. And so you could actually like make some really cool compound curves that way. But you can also kind of get the same effect by doing this. I'm just kind of stretching and curving it. There we go. Okay. All right. So it doesn't actually get to the full thing, but now when I glue this together, which I'll probably do outside, since you guys enjoy that so much. Yeah, he is a great guy. I'm gonna go glue. I'm gonna go offline, and I'm gonna glue this stuff all, and I'll come back. So I'll be back in like 20 minutes. But I should have this part done, which would be great. And if it doesn't work, I'll rebuild it all out of some other foam. So, anyway, all right, I'm gonna be back in a little bit.